Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of The Breakdown. My name's CJ Pierre.
Tony Graham.
Kyle Walbert.
Ancelino Doss.
And I'm Chancey Ames.
Yeah, how you doing today, fellas?
Good. How are you?
All right, good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to get going right away. We're just going to talk about some undefeated teams in the NFL. Okay, right now we have 5 undefeated teams. We have the New Orleans Saints, the Seattle Seahawks, the Denver Broncos, the New England Patriots, and the Kansas City Chiefs. Guys, which one of those undefeated teams do you think is going to stay undefeated the longest, or even you think is going to go undefeated the whole way?
Well, one that caught me by surprise is the New Orleans Saints. Their defense has really stepped up from what we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing the offense carry that team, but the defense is making its name for itself.
The Saints they've kind of surprised me. I mean, we all knew that what Sean Payton and Drew Brees could do. I mean, coming into the league, he was with San Diego, but then he got sent to New Orleans, and, he flourished under I'm forgetting his name. Sean Payton, that's it. Under Sean Payton. And
good morning.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. They had a down season last year because, the head coach and the quarterback need to be on the same page. And since that wasn't happening last year, I think it's...
So you're both picking the Saints to be undefeated the longest out of those teams?
Okay. Well, as we know, the Broncos have kind of taken the world by storm, and right now I'm kind of liking what they're doing. I mean, Peyton Manning, on pace to break the touchdown record here. He's just done some unbelievable things in the first 4 games, and 16 picks and no touchdowns. It's pretty amazing. I think that the Broncos are going to be the ones to be undefeated this year.
I'm going to have to go with the Broncos by far. I think the Broncos have just the team to beat anybody in the league by 20 points. If they start not winning by 20, we're going to be more surprised than if the Saints lose a game. And I think that makes the Broncos the last undefeated team going to come the weeks.
I just want to let you guys know that even though the Broncos do look the most impressive, at the end of the day, they have the toughest schedule. They have a tougher schedule than the Saints do. Okay, the Saints have to play teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Carolina Panthers, who are still on and off. The Atlanta Falcons, we all think, are better than their record. Where the Broncos, they still have to play the Kansas City Chiefs in their division. The San Diego Chargers look like they're going to be good. I mean, they do got to play the Raiders, so we don't got to worry about that. But then they also have to play the New England Patriots as well. So I think the New Orleans Saints have a better chance to go undefeated the longest because they have to play the weakest schedule.
Do you think that the Broncos have a better chance of beating the San Diego Chargers than the Saints of beating the Carolina Panthers?
Yes. Well, I'd say it depends on where the game's played. Okay. I'd say it depends on where the game, because we all know the Saints aren't necessarily the greatest road team, but I think the San Diego Chargers are vastly improved. They're not the same Chargers that we thought that they were going to be. So I think the Chargers do have a legitimate chance of beating the Broncos as well. So I really think it really depends on the game is played. But I just think the Saints are a lot. The gap between the Saints and the Panthers is bigger than the gap between the Broncos and the Chargers is.
I think that's a fair statement, but you also have to take a look at the Saints. Their first couple games, yes, they've come out a little bit crisper since then, but playing the Bucs, they almost lost by a field goal. Then they played. I forgot who they played, but the Falcons actually, and the Falcons almost beat them as well. And those are 2 teams in their division that they have to contend with. Now, I think that the gap in the AFC West is, a little smaller as far as having Kansas City and San Diego in the division, but the gap between all 4 teams in the NFC South is a little bit smaller than the gap in the AFC West. I think the Falcons we know, when they're completely healthy, can contend with any team in the NFL.
Maybe. No one here really believes in the Falcons now, do we?
Well, that's because Steven Jackson. That's because Steven Jackson is hurt.
Even before that.
What happened last year? What do you mean before that? That was before they had Steven Jackson, and they were competing with everybody in the league.
But we knew we couldn't rely on the Atlanta Falcons.
Maybe in the playoffs, but we're talking about regular season here, going undefeated. And when they get all healthy, that they have one of the most explosive offenses in the game and a defense that not shut people down, but is a bend but don't break defense.
But the New Orleans Saints only have to play them one more time. They've already beaten them once. All that has to only happen for one game. Where the Broncos still have to play the Kansas City Chiefs twice.
That's understandable. That's
In the
understandable.
first game, they won on a last-second play that didn't work out for the Atlanta Falcons. Easily could have went the other way.
Because the New Orleans Saints defense.
The New Orleans Saints defense is good, but they still almost gave up the game-winning touchdown. And Rod Ryman has done an excellent job over there. They're calling for his head in Dallas. They should have kept him. They made a mistake now. Okay, but that game was settled by a last-second throw to the end zone. It wasn't a heave. It was 15, 20
But
yards
the Atlanta
out.
Falcons have proven that they are not reliable in the clutch. Now, on 2 occasions, we saw that against the Saints. We saw it against the Patriots.
Actually, the Atlanta Falcons were one of the clutch teams last year.
This is a new
last year,
team. This is a new year.
there's only one new player on that team, and that's Steven Jackson. And he's not playing. So basically, they don't have any new, it's not really a new team necessarily. Last year, I believe when Peyton Manning took the kneel and people were comparing him to all the fourth quarter drives that he had, one name that was said between a lot of people was Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan had at least 3 fourth quarter drives last year.
And he has 3 failed fourth quarter drives this year.
Okay, but you cannot call him a non-clutch quarterback or a non-clutch player if he's made clutch moments in the regular season, as far as the regular season goes, because that's what
in
this
this
topic
regular
is. Direct.
season, he has not.
We don't need him
Okay.
to be clutch. We need him to win one game against the Saints before the Broncos lose. He can win one game against the Saints before the Broncos lose.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.